So if you're joining us now, we are now live and we're about to I'm about to be cued into the live show and private chat. Okay, good. I'm here, Matt. Hi. All right. Okay. And can you read this? Can you read my? Yeah. Okay. So we're good with that. So you'll cue me on the chat when I'm going to take a break, right?
1 minute. Yep, I'll let you know. And we got 1 minute till we start.
Okay, great. All right. Here we go. And if you're on live stream, we're on live stream now, but we won't be much longer. So please jump on to voiceamerica.com, the empowerment channel, the Infinite Human Talk Show there, because that will not be screened. And please play the commercial. Yeah, please play it out loud for the live stream, okay?
Yeah, we'll do. All right, here we go. Starting the show. Have a good show.
Okay. Thanks.
Welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show with Elizabeth Monroy. Over the next hour, you'll learn how you can become part of the new consciousness renaissance by evolving yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and socially to embrace your true divine infinite nature and become an infinite human and co-creator of the new infinite earth. Now, here is your host, Elizabeth Monroy.
Hello and welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show. All your divine, infinite human beings who are all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm your host, and we have a really exciting guest, Ian Parks, who's going to talk about Tartartian architecture and technology, this ancient hidden technology. And it's going to be an amazing session. So before we start, though, I'd like to just help you kind of ground yourself, center yourself, and tap into your divine infinite source. So take a deep breath if you can. And even if you're busy driving or something, you don't have to close your eyes, but just take a nice deep breath, breathing in the two most powerful words ever uttered, I am. And exhale, peace, 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 peace. And now breathing in, I am. Infinite love, love, love. Breathing in, I am. Infinite truth, truth, truth. And one more time, breathing in, I am. Infinite source, source, source. And just feel that divine infinite spark ignite deep within your heart of hearts. And feel yourself going deeper and deeper and deeper as you reconnect to that divine infinite spark of the infinite God source, which resides within you at all times. It's always there. And sometimes in the busyness of the day, we get lost, but it's always there. It's just a breath away, a thought away. Breathing in, I am, and exhaling, infinite. And so excited to have you. Thank you so much. The talk show is really taking off, and we've had some amazing guests and have some amazing guests lined up. So I'm really, really excited about this. And again, I just want to kind of set the tone because I don't ask you to believe anything I say or any of the guests say, because it's really just to inspire, to trigger, to excite you to remember the truth, because the truth is something, and hopefully you've got an inkling of it from our first broadcast on Columbus Day, when we began to look. This month we've been exploring the true history of our planet, and if nothing else, hopefully some questions have been have arisen, have come up in your mind, have been kind of triggered in your mind to make you question the narratives, the history that has been shoved down our throats in school systems and in the history books. And perhaps there is a whole different story. And then last week we got into a really deep with Katie, the author of Waking in Elenia, and we went to explore ancient Atlantis and Lemuria, and we went even beyond that to the time of the planet Tara and before the fall. And that we visited the ancient continents and cultures of Mu and Elenia. And now, today, we're going to look at the ancient culture of Tartaria. And it's funny, I just thought that it was from Tara. When I met Eon, I asked him, I said, well, Tartaria means from Tara, the ancient culture of Tara. But he said, well, I don't know. So we'll find out. I have a lot of questions here. And part of it is, did the ancient cultures understand that we're going to talk about vibrating frequency and sound? And if you have some questions, you'll have a chance also to ask him questions. So I'm going to just bring on Eon Park in just a second, and I'm going to kind of set the stage for you to realize what an amazing soul this person is. He's really brilliant. I had just a very short conversation with him, and it's just amazing, his perspective and his knowledge is phenomenal. So he's from the UK, and he has studied multidimensional creation mechanics and biospiritual development for over 20 years, mostly from the materials presented by Ashiana Dean, which he says has helped him greatly on the journey. He enjoys assisting and sharing his knowledge with others who choose to follow this path, and in hopes that we can all shift this reality for the better, which is what we're all about here at the Infinite Human Talk Show. He recently started studying the subject of Tartaria and discovered that his developing levels of awareness has allowed him to see the subject from a unique perspective, which has led unique realizations of the interesting layers that exist. He is currently creating a huge megalithic presentation on this topic, which will be covered over several videos and be presented on his YouTube channel, which is called Waking Earth. All right. And he can tell you more about that. He also enjoys researching the hidden musical frequency system used openly in Tartarian and Christic societies. And we'll talk more about that at the end, I hope. In societies that have now been replaced by our current distorted 440 hertz temperamental tuning, temperament tuning. Okay, so many of you are familiar with what's happened to the whole music industry being hijacked. He has discovered a way to link geometry to musical frequencies, which has led to the discovery of a new way to naturally create the crystalla, the crystal spiral, and thus the crystal spiral frequencies used throughout the world. So this is really, if you understand colonic sciences, this is mega information here. So and he has a Facebook group called Nomi Earth Beginners Guide to Fail-Safe Ascension, and hopefully we'll touch on that just a little bit. And then his YouTube channel is Walking Earth. And I just want to say something also, because my perspective is and always has been, you have all the answers within you from divine. You are infinite, and you can go directly to infinite source. But certainly in this time in which we, the divine, angelic, infinite humans, are reawakening, reclaiming our power, reclaiming our true infinite, nature and reclaiming our memories, it is very helpful to listen to other people, which is why I founded this channel. And like I said, only take what resonates. And I also am a student of Ashiana Dean and colonics, but I only take what resonates with me. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in different factions, and I listen to everyone, whether it's energy synthesis, colonic science, freedom teachings, the new KDL3. I listen to everything, and I encourage you to, and to be your own, put it together the way that resonates with you, because I hope that the words I say and the words of the guests that I bring on will spark memories of the truth, because this is all information that was not just channeled by someone, but it was information that has been hidden from us. It's information that has been given to this planet many, many times over and over again. And every time these CD plates or the Mahabharata scrolls, or this information is written down by the true Yeshua, the true Christ, it was always, if you had it, you were probably going to be killed and it was going to be stolen. It's that powerful, because the truth will set you free. So these are all truth frequencies, and it's hidden also in our DNA. So as we reclaim our Cathar template, our Christic template, our 12 strands of DNA, we will remember it. So it won't have to be told. But I believe we all have a unique unique soul mission here. And as we awaken, we heal from the trauma that has been caused to many of us, to the angelic races. And it's very helpful to start to hear and listen, and without fear, without feeling like, oh my gosh, this, I trust everyone to have information, and I trust you to be your own expert and to, discern. So, I bring everything in, and that's just me. And I really think there's a unifying force among all these teachings, and it's the truth frequency, and it's a divine infinite source within us all. So that is my, I just kind of want to open that up, because this is the second time we've had someone on that prescribes to colonic science. So I definitely encourage you to do your own investigating, because for me, it's some of the most high frequency information that exists on the planet. All right. So I'll just, without any further ado, I'm going to bring Ian on, and welcome.
Hello, Elizabeth. You okay? Can you hear me?
Oh,
okay.
Great. You sound great. You sound super.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, I've got some headphones, so you're not going to get any feedback. So yeah, all good.
Okay, good. So I have some questions for you, but if you would mind, I love what you started in kind of explaining how our perspective of reality has definitely been warped or shifted, or purposely manipulated into a frequency fence.
Yeah.
If you could begin there. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Frequency fence. Okay. So obviously I'm studying the Tartarian subject. Now the frequency fence.
Yes, but why we can't see some of these structures because of this frequency fence, and why they're coming more and more, surfacing more to many of us.
Yeah. So the frequency fence is explained in the Ashiana Dean's book, Voyages Volume 2. And basically, it's an artificial set of it's like a lower frequency bands, and it's designed to keep consciousness locked under these particular set of frequency bands. I think the frequency fence is under D4.5. So if you can accrete your DNA and activate your DNA above strand 4.5, you can then start to perceive above the frequency fence, which is obviously what the fallen angelic, I call them parasites. That's the term that I always use. It explains their behavior and what they're doing on this planet absolutely perfectly. So I use the word parasites quite a lot. What I actually mean by that is fallen angelic bloodlines whose only interest is to feed on our energy, which is why I call them parasites. But anyway, they want to keep us under this frequency fence. So there's a load of people on this planet who are obviously under this artificial frequency fence of consciousness, and they, I'm sure you and a lot of your listeners are aware that this reality that we walk around in is is generated in real time on an individual and a collective basis by the actual people who are on the planet. It's like a waking dream. We're making it up as we go along. Now, all the people that are locked under the frequency fence, they create a very specific version of this reality called Net Earth, NET, which stands for I think it's Niberian electrostatic transduction field. It's all explained in the Voyages anyway, but basically it's this version of reality called Net Earth, and when we walk around on this planet and we're looking around, most people are interacting with this version of Earth called Net Earth. Now, once you've activated above D4.5, you can start to perceive higher frequency bands. So you start to see outside of Net Earth, and there are higher frequency bands above that. And basically, when that happens, you can start to see the Net Earth programs for what they are. You can feel that certain things in the world aren't right. I mean, everybody who's on a spiritual journey, they will eventually reach the point where they sort of start questioning, hang on a minute, this reality that I'm being told, something doesn't feel right. Your intuition tells you that the story that you're being told and what you're being presented with is there's something not right with it. It doesn't feel right. That's what sets a lot of people off on a spiritual journey in the first place, because they're getting to the point where they're rising above this frequency fence type of thing. Now, yes, the concept of being able to see things above the frequency fence, like physically be able to see things, like a reality field, if you like, above the frequency fence, that is an interesting concept. Whether it's connected to the whole Tartarian thing, I'm not sure. I mean, when we were talking the other day, you were mentioning that some of these buildings that have started popping up in our reality could be from Tara, which was the a higher version of Earth, if you like. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. I'm trying to see things from like a linear perspective. I'm certainly keeping that idea open, if that's true. But some of the things I've figured out, like tracking the history and when certain things happened, it does go back quite a long way.
If I can just say, one of the things that I love about you is, and I find that you're very kindred spirit to me, and one of my mottos is, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing, Socrates. So I feel like that's how
me too.
This. Yeah.
Me too, absolutely.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you have learned about Tartaria and the Tartarian architecture, which works with the whole sound frequency concept of what is the true essence of our universe, the sound and light frequencies.
Okay, so basically, the subject of Tartaria, if you want to start studying it, there's lots of subtopics within it. So basically, I had like a bit of a bullet points to go through. So talking about the buildings themselves. So most people may have seen these types of buildings, but it's never sort of registered in their minds about what they are or where they came from. Basically, the concept of this whole Tartaria subject is that up until very recently, I'm talking 100 years ago, there was a civilization that existed on this planet, which has been whitewashed from history completely by the fallen angelic bloodlines, stroke parasites. They've done all they can to try and whitewash this history, alter our history. Now, these buildings, they're everywhere. And some examples of these buildings are St. Paul's Cathedral in London, the Houses of Parliament in London, the White House in Washington, DC. If you go to the UK, visit places like York, Edinburgh, Chester, and a whole host of other places, not just in the UK, by the way, literally everywhere in the world, you can see this same architecture where they're like these big, grand, majestic buildings with Greek pillars on the front. They usually have like little squashed pyramids above the pillars. And basically, these I've discovered that these buildings, where they're all tied in with this whole subject of Tartaria and the Tartarian civilization, which was global. It was a global. Now, what's happened over the last 100 years, probably more than 100 years, the parasites have tried to whitewash all this from existence. There's been some kind of great reset. The parasites have done some kind of great reset on the planet. Now, they've systematically destroyed a lot of these buildings, and they've kept a select few for themselves, and they operate their control system on this planet right now from these Tartarian buildings. So we're talking, they've decided to keep cathedrals, churches, and churches, by the way, were never actually built as religious churches. A lot of these cathedrals, they're actually Tartarian like power centers that designed for pulling in energy, with the domes on the top and the aerials, and government buildings. This is what the parasites are using these buildings for now. So churches, cathedrals, government buildings, schools, universities, mental institutions, town halls, royal residences, even department stores are actually Tartarian buildings from this old civilization from before, when the parasites done this great reset. So
Wow.
these buildings, right, they still exist. Once you know what they look like, I mean, it's quite difficult without being able to show your listeners pictures, because the pictures tell 1,000 words. So I'm having to try and say 1,000 words to make up for the fact that I can't show any pictures. Yes, what these buildings all did, right, was they were able to pull in and harness what's called etheric energy. So they were literally pulling in energy from the atmosphere above them, and then they were pulling that energy down into the building. And then this civilization, this Tartarian civilization, was a free energy society. They didn't have, they were able to, everything was wonderful. Their entire existence was all a celebration. So all these, like, they used all like majestic statues, huge, massive buildings, arches, domes, obelisks,
And they had a lot
fountains.
of other. They had. We were talking the other day, and you were saying that they had a lot of other technology that we couldn't even fathom. For example, you're
Yes.
talking about the bandstands as teleportation centers,
Yes.
and I was saying that here in Sicily, I have one right here. It's just this little tiny like temple. And they are using it as a bandstand now. And can you talk a little bit more about that? Yeah.
Okay, so so from my research, I've basically discovered that the Tartarian civilization, they had a portal teleport technology, and they were able to like zip around the planet. I don't know whether they were limited to just this planet or whether they could go anywhere else, but they had teleport stations that you could go outside, walk into, and it would take you to, it was like a network, and you could go to other teleport stations. Now, what some of these teleport stations look like, you can see them. Go to your local park, and you may find something called, it's called a monopteros. That's what they're called. And it's kind of like, most people will know what a bandstand is. It's like an octagon shaped raised platform with a bit of a roof on it. It's kind of like that, only it's made with more like Greek pillars, like stone, type of thing, and they call it a monopteros. I personally believe that what these are, they're teleport stations, and they've got the etheric collector on the top of it, which is a little it's like a copper ball. It's a copper or a brass ball, and it's full of mercury. Now, what actually happens is, and it's got like a copper aerial, or some of these buildings actually have a gold aerial as well, because gold obviously conducts electricity better than copper, but because it costs a lot of money, it's mainly copper is used. So basically, these aerials just stick up, pull the energy in, which is in the atmosphere above. There's electricity everywhere in the air. Pulls it in, and then the mercury inside this copper or brass ball starts to spin around and create a vortex. That vortex creates a toroidal field, which is like, imagine like a donut, a ring donut. So that's what the energy field looks like, spinning around. Now, that toroidal field is like a whirlpool, and then it starts pulling in massive amounts of etheric energy into whatever that structure is. And then that energy then is harnessed from the center of that vortex. It comes down into, it's either a domed roof, or sometimes it's an octagonal sloped roof. And this is like a sort of an amplifier, if you like, and it comes down inside that. And these structures, once you know what they look like, they are literally everywhere, all around the planet, in your local park, in city centres, even some residential houses around where I live have these balls on the top that you can still see them. They're literally everywhere. And this technology has been hidden from humanity. We had free energy technology literally everywhere on the planet, and the parasites, fallen angelic parasites, have done some kind of great reset and changed society into a form that they can vampirically feed upon, because you can't feed upon a society which has free energy. So they've had to get rid of
this
all
energy. From what I understand too, this energy, this ancient energy, was not, like EMF waves that are very disharmonious to our organic bodies, but they resonated
No.
with our crystalla structures, right? And with the
Yeah,
440 that. Okay, so that's a big difference, because now we're seeing technology as something that's, making us ill and sick, but that was actually something that empowered and healed us. Can you talk a little bit about your work with the somatics and the actually, we're going to take a break here in a minute, so maybe when we come back you can talk a little bit more about that, the crystal spiral, and your work with the frequencies that you spoke about before. Okay.
So these Tartarian buildings, take a cathedral, right? One of the things that all cathedrals have inside them is a big, massive pipe organ. The Tartarian civilization, they used sound and frequencies as it was an integral part of their technology. And I believe that they were using sound inside these structures, these like big cathedrals. They're resonant chambers, and what they were using the big organs for, the big pipe organs. They weren't just playing music in there, and everyone was just listening to music. It was literally technology, and they were creating resonant sound tones inside this resonant cavern, if you like, huge resonant cavern. And they were literally opening up portals inside these structures and using those portals for traveling around the planet. That's what these cathedrals are for. In fact, the word cathedral is cathode ral. So it's a device that pulls in electricity, a cathode ral cathedral. So the technology, obviously, a lot of these cathedrals have got a big dome on the top. So inside is it's a resonant cavern. So I mean,
Okay, hold that thought, because we've got to
Okay.
take a short break, but we'll visit this topic a lot more. And it's amazing you said that. I just want to say, because I went to the Hypogeum in Malta, which is an underground resonance chamber that is amazing.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
it's all the pieces are coming together. So we're just going to take a real short break, and we'll be back with Ian Parks talking about Tartarian ancient technology and architecture.
For more empowering words from Elizabeth Monroy and Dr. Peter Monroy, check out their latest book, The Infinite Human, an ascension guide for starseeds, twin souls, and awakening infinite humans, the co-creators of the new infinite 5D Earth. You'll also find many spiritual books to help both children and adults in their ascension back to home, to infinite God Source. Isn't it time to be part of the new consciousness renaissance? If this resonates with you, please subscribe to our website at infinitehuman.com and become part of our growing Infinite Human family.
Welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. Do you have a question or comment for Elizabeth or her guests? Please call us at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. You can also text or email your questions and comments to infinitehumanproductions@gmail.com. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. And we're with Ian Parks talking about ancient Tartarian technology and architecture. And actually, Ian, I do have a question for you. And
Okay, go on.
talk about synchronicity. There is a gal that just I call her my go-to girl. She is psychic beyond belief. She has remote viewing powers, and she has helped me so much. And I swear, I met her during what I call the scamdemic, and she has actually, through her work, she's validated a lot of things I've gotten, and because of her, I spent last year tramping through the jungles of the Yucatan. And in fact, I also went to Malta, because she's kind of helps me interpret the signs that I'm getting. And and she had a question for you, and it was, where in England can we see these things? You already mentioned some places, but this is the kicker. Okay, she lives in Chester, which is right down the road from you.
Well, if she goes outside her front door, she'll probably see them. Go to Chester, go to Chester Town Centre, the main high street. Obviously, all them types of buildings, they're all old. I mean, you're talking like sort of imagine the Harry Potter film. Most people have seen Harry Potter. When they go to that sort of street where they buy all the magical items, like what do they call it in the film, Diagon Alley type of thing. They're all old, really old buildings. That's kind of similar to it, but it's more like the bigger buildings I'm talking about. So your big cathedrals, your big churches. If you find a church, and you find like a lot of these cathedrals and churches will have it's like a round, it looks like a geometric code on the front of a cathedral. I don't know whether I've got literally about 100 different pictures of these things. It's like a cymatic code on the front of the cathedral. Go to I went to visit Liverpool the other day, and on the seafront there's a series of buildings, actually, very famous Liver buildings, they're called. Now the Liver buildings, if you actually walk up to them and look at them close, they're like absolutely 100% Tartarian. They're not made by us. Now, one of the things about these Tartarian buildings is if you look at the size of the doors and you look at the size of the windows, they're not made for people our size. These Tartarians were obviously a lot taller than what we are now. I mean, most humans are between 5 and 6 foot. These buildings, these doorways, they're made for beings much taller than what we are. Maybe I don't know, 7 to 10 foot tall beings. They're not made for us. Now that's a whole topic. That's like a whole subtopic in itself. Where did all these tall people go? So there's a lot of.
Well, I think we talked about that a little bit again, because this is relating to the true history of our planet. That basically in our time matrix, well, we were. Many people say we were infected, and this whole fall of the parasitic invasion, we'll say, came from a fallen, parallel matrix back 260 billion years ago, and then 250 million years ago, there's kind of a climax because history just kept repeating itself when Tara fell, and then they've been feeding off of us, and it's been splat. The Earth, which is has Eartha and Gaia and Tara, and our Earth has been not only fragmented, but it's also been drained and has become much smaller. And I guess we've adapted to that. Is that what you would?
Absolutely,
like that?
Okay. That's an interesting sort of topic to touch upon. Now, I know that you follow the teachings of Aisha. I followed her stuff for about 20 odd years. I remember a long time ago, she mentioned in a workshop that the Earth used to be a lot larger in size than what it is now. Now, back if you were to find dinosaur bones, one of the sort of the main features of dinosaurs is that they were all massive. Every single dinosaur that you can find was huge in comparison to what land creatures are now. I think that the largest land mammal now is an elephant. An elephant would be tiny compared to your basic dinosaur back then. So why has Aisha actually explained that? Because the Earth was much larger back then, there was more like the hologram, if you like. There was more room for life forms and the templates of those life forms to more fully energetically express into this reality. So they were generally much larger. If you live on a huge, massive, big planet with lots of frequency and quantum, you generally outpicture larger than what you do on a planet with a smaller amount of quantum.
So perhaps it would be fair to say that it's just even amazing that we even walk upright with all that's been done to us, reverse technology and mechanics. But getting back to the Tartarian architecture, because actually living in that energetic expression and in all those buildings, it actually it not only opened portals, but it also healed and maintained our own Cathara templates, our Christic templates, and fed it with its resonance. So I'm just fascinated by your work with the Crystalla spiral. If we can, let me just explain that real. Okay, or do you want to explain the difference between Crystalla and Fibonacci, the expanding towards source, and the
absolutely.
Fibonacci.
So basically, there's two. We exist. It's like a series of what's called Cathara grid templates. It's like a manifestation template. Most people will have seen something similar to this. It's like the tree of life. Most people will have seen a tree of life. It's kind of like that. Only
it's really the tree of death.
It's a tree of death. Now, the Christic version, which is the original eternal life version of that, has got 12 spheres, and it's very, very specific in its shape. Now, this reality field that we walk around in and we live in is composed of interlocking versions of the Cathara grid. Now, there's actually the original 12 template Cathara grid, and we've also got a fallen version, the Tree of Life version of the Cathara grid with a different amount of spheres. So we're kind of like living inside a blended reality field where there's a portion of our reality field being generated by the Metatronic code, and a portion of our reality field being generated by the CRYST code, KRYST. So that's actually what's happening at the moment. Now, it's difficult to explain this concept without diagrams and pictures to be able to look at. But essentially, as these templates will spiral out from the center, from a center point, and you can connect up the 12 on the Cathara grids. There's a 12 points at the top. You can connect these 12 points up as it spirals outwards from the center, and it creates a mathematical progression called the crystal spiral, and it can be plotted on a graph, and it creates a spiral. Okay, now that spiral is what contemporary pianos are tuned from. It creates the musical progression of how, even now, when the parasites have tried to alter everything and mess around with everything, they still have to use that spiral to program or tune musical instruments now. So there's obviously, I've studied the musical side of all of this for about 15 years, trying to figure out. Now, I've discovered that the Tartarians, they weren't using the musical system that we are now. They were using a different musical system, because it's all to do with the frequencies and the way the frequencies overlap. So just to finish off what I was saying on the point before, there's an original crystal spiral, and the Metatronic template creates an artificial spiral called the Fibonacci spiral, and it's slower in speed. So if you were to put these two spirals on top of each other, you can see that they're distinctly different. Now, these spirals, believe it or not, are just about to cross over, and the crossover point is the 8th and 9th of November, which is in about 2 weeks' time. And this is the culmination of like millions of years waiting for this event to happen. It's like absolutely unbelievable what is actually going on this planet right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So yeah. So basically, the original musical system, which
Well, let me just add, because it is epic, and I think a lot of New Age people, a lot of us are seeing it as timelines. You know, the ascending timeline going back to infinite God source, or the descending Fibonacci timeline falling into phantom, parasitic time matrices.
yeah,
Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
So
go ahead, please.
So yeah, the original. What we're using at the moment, if you were to tune a piano, if your job was a piano tuner and you went to go and tune someone's piano, you would tune it to something called 440 hertz temperament tuning. So what that is note A becomes 440 hertz, and then once you know what that note A is, you use crystal spiral. Obviously, you don't call it the crystal spiral, but it's a mathematical equation which tells you what all the other notes are. So you only need to tune one note, and then you can tune all the other notes from that one, called equal temperament scale. Now, they've literally found, they found in tombs and things like that, musical instruments from like thousands of years ago. And what they found is these musical instruments weren't tuned to 440 hertz. They were tuned to 432 hertz. So obviously they weren't using the same system as what we were.
And I just want to interject that if you look at, the cells of the human body and how they respond to each frequency, one, it's almost like being on a cell phone, it kind of like attacks and assaults and dissolves the cellular integrity, while the other one just resonates in perfect geometry.
Right. Now, if you look at the history of when music was changed to 440, there's a number of different, you can find different answers on this, but it's most commonly believed, believe it or not, it was changed originally by the Nazi Party. They were the ones who originally changed music to 440 hertz. And then it was adopted, I think it was like early 50s or something. It was adopted as a global standard
by the Rockefellers. They
Well,
enforced it. Yeah.
yeah, it was adopted.
Yeah.
Well, basically, turn on the radio, listen to any
Yeah.
contemporary music, and it will all be tuned to 440 hertz. Now, this obviously what the parasites were trying to do was hide the original frequencies, because in the Tartarian technology, and obviously the Tartarians didn't create this system, this is the natural musical system. Now, you get combinations of the notes, the vibrations of each note interacting with each other in the air is the key thing that makes this technology work, for opening up all the portals and opening up all these lines of frequency and stuff like that. You have these things in your light body structure called the Lorentz chambers. Aisha started talking about all this a while ago, and then it seemed to just like fizzle out and didn't go anywhere. She didn't continue with it, which was a bit unfortunate, because I was really heavily into learning about that. But basically, certain combinations of sound frequencies together can create resonant tones that can open up something called the Lorentz chambers inside your light body structure. And obviously it will allow frequencies to come in and activate your light body and all of this. So it was actually some incredible spiritual sound and light system that is, which exists. It just, we don't know what it is. So I've been heavily trying to figure out what this original system was, and I think I figured it out. I'm currently making a course to explain how this works, but as you said in your introduction, I've found a method of linking geometry to musical frequencies, and then from that system, you can find all the numbers of this musical scale to tune an octave of 12 notes. And all these numbers, what the system generates, are all things that, like, they're all used in the ancient world. For instance, there's I think it's Angkor Wat Temple in India. They've got like 108 statues of Buddha or something like that. So, and there's a load of these temples where the number 108 is very important. Well, 108 is times 4 is 432. So 108 is very, very important. So I'm looking for certain numbers, and I've been collecting over the last 15 years, like sort of markers, if you like, of what these frequencies are. And I've managed to find a system which puts them all together. And I've literally programmed it into a piano and played it. And it's absolutely fantastic. It naturally creates the crystal spiral without you even knowing what the equation is. It just
now, can I just ask you about the crystal spiral? So you said, now is that, because I've listened to the tonings, is that the do re mi fa so, ka ra ya sa ta, that is that the you're talking about the scale? Is it adapted to our scale of ka ra ya sa ta la?
Yeah. So what that is, as you probably know, is it's the code is called the Ruche, and it's like a sort of seed code, and it's got 12 points on it. So kara yasa taha la adora metador, and there's a tune that goes with it, which you've just said.
What's the last part? Because I'm the adore atala.
Kara yasa taha la adora metador.
And then I heard him go which is the three two sound and light tones.
Yeah. That's like a club. Adora metador.
Adore matador, which is the first spoken language, Anahase, that has ever been uttered in our time matrix, not just on our planet, but in our whole time matrix. So each one is coded. So this sound and frequency is so powerful, and we're not using it at all. The technology we're being forced is destroying our organic bodies, whereas this has existed, this that heals, that is. I have a note here from, actually it was from Lisa Renee, which I get bits of information. She talks about Tartarian culture, saying that these structures you're talking about, these power centers, had applications of sound and frequency for learning, healing, building, architecture, art, music, growing food. And now you're saying opening portals and opening, your light, restoring the light body, the crystal body. So
it's template technology. They've got the sound technology can be used to influence templates, opening up certain connections and healing and all manner of applications. So
we've really had a number done on us here, I think, especially when they're pushing us into this AI, artificial technology, with the 5G and all this stuff. It's just such a bad copy of what we had. They took us. It sounds like they just took it all from us, and now they're giving us the weaponized versions of it, and we're thinking, "Wow, I can surf the net." Well, what's a net? It's something.
The net.
Amazing. We're getting to the closing now, but oh my gosh, Ian, it's just mind blowing. I love to hear you speak, because it just stirs up ancient memories in my mind, and I hope it has for the listeners here. Tell us more about how I'd love to have you back.
Okay.
And just love you to death. Yeah, I just think. But please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you and see your pictures, because of course this is a radio show, so we can't see the pictures. But can you tell us once again how we can connect with you? And also, I want to just say I'm excited about I see my visions, see a book coming out, and I see you doing tours all over the world, pointing out these Tartarian, buildings. So I can't wait for that to come out.
Well,
so
I haven't manifested that yet, but that's a good thing to aim for.
Well, we're just starting.
I'm going to be doing a huge, massive big course on Tartaria. It's going to be available on my YouTube channel for free. So if you go onto YouTube and just type Waking Earth, you will find it. If you want to know more about the crystal spiral and the Fibonacci spiral, just search for Waking Earth and then time wave spirals. And you'll find like a big hour-long, video that I've done, which explains all about these two spirals and the sound and the music and all that kind of stuff. So that's the best way to find me. Obviously, I'm on Facebook as well. You can find me on Facebook, just Ian Parks.
And you also have a Facebook group, and we didn't get a chance. We're running out of time. We're going to have to close right now. But I'd like to bring you back and talk more about failsafe too, because that's huge. That's like resetting. I call it resetting our time matrix to the infinite source. So we're realigning, recalibrating, and so it's massive. But we'll talk about more about that in another time.
Yeah,
so
that's a whole talk show on its own.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to say goodbye to you now and just wind this up. So, okay. And I'll move you over here. Okay. And what a fascinating discussion. Oh my gosh, just mind blowing. So I want to just kind of round this up and definitely want to have him come back. But next week I want to please tune in. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're really growing, and please share this, because I think one of the most important missions, my soul mission, is that I believe everyone has a unique soul mission. And as we, awaken, and as we reconnect, and as we start becoming our true, authentic, infinite selves, infinite humans, we begin co-creating and manifesting a whole alternate reality, which is in alignment with, fail-safe, which is what's happening. Our planet is now an ascension planet, returning back to divine infinite source. But with that said, I've got just a few minutes here. Next week, tune in, because we have a very exciting guest, Jane Weeder. And if you know him, actually, he was on Gaia. And I don't prescribe to everything on Gaia, but I did subscribe to it just to see his show, Esoteric Hollywood. He is amazing. He's a filmmaker, and he, author, scholar, he's called sometimes authority. He's an alchemist, I would basically say, and he is probably the only person I know alive that can really explain Kubrick and 2001, which I love. I love Kubrick is just a genius to me, and he really understands esoteric symbology that has been placed in hiding in plain sight in Hollywood. So it's going to be really fascinating, and he will be with us next week this time. And thank you so much. And again, remember, you are the change. You are divine and a divine infinite human being. You have the power, and it's time for us to take our power back, to use this truth, because the truth will set you free, and to remember our past, remember who we were, and to use that to co-create just a beautiful infinite new reality. So thank you so much for joining me. I've noticed that we've gotten quite a lot of views. I've got the statistics back, so please share this with other people. I think the more we know, the more we can create, free from the parasitic confines, as Ian said, that have been encumbering us. So have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. All right. So ciao for now. And if you want to reach out, please join my Infinite Human family at www.infinitehuman.com. And you can send emails there to me and communicate with me. I love to hear from you all. All right. So take care. And again, thanks to our wonderful, wonderful guest, Ian Parks. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next week, remember, you are divine, infinite source. Not the force is with you. You are the force, the source. You are infinite. All right. Ciao for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. We hope today's episode has inspired you to join the new consciousness renaissance and be the change by reclaiming your true divine infinite nature within and becoming an infinite human and a co-creator of the new infinite earth. Tune in next week for another empowering episode. Until then, have an infinite week.